Heckington Players presents The Curse of the Mummies Mummy, a comedy thriller for radio by Kai Paley. Part 1.
The year is 1895. A low mist hangs heavily over the cabbage fields on the edge of Crumpleton, an insignificant little village somewhere in England. An unexpected strong wind quickly drives the mist through the church graveyard towards Crumpleton's one and only hostelry. Inside the Idle Donkey Tavern, weary villagers have congregated for an evening of gossip and beer to relax after a long day at work. The cantankerous innkeeper, Amos Slobber, scowls ungratefully at his customers as he collects empty tankards en route to a table in the corner where the few remaining staff from Twistleton Towers are sitting.
Evening, Albert. Evening, ladies.
Evening, Amos.
Another drink?
Oh, don't mind if I do. Usual, please.
Henrietta's just been telling me that you think the curse has struck again. I understand another member of the Twistleton family has snuffed it.
Yes, that's right. Her ladyship cousin, Miss Millicent Fife.
Are you sure?
Well, they buried her yesterday, so I hope so.
What I meant, Mrs. Haddock, is are you sure it's the curse?
What else could it be? She died in very mysterious circumstances, trampled to death by a herd of cows while she was out collecting wildflowers.
Yeah, she was found face down in a cow pad.
They say something frightened the cattle. They went berserk, stampeded. She didn't stand a chance. I tell you, the whole family is damned.
And they should never have brought that thing back over for the house.
Or to our village.
Amos, you gonna stand here gossiping all night?
I wouldn't dare, my little turtle dove.
You've got jobs to do. Why should I do it all? I work my fingers to the bone for you. And what do I get in return?
Bony fingers?
Nothing, that's what. Well, I'm not going to stand for it.
Albert and Mrs. Haddock were just telling me about the latest happenings from up at Twistleton Towers.
Another stiff.
They think it's the curse.
Shh, I've told you before. I won't have that sort of talking here. It's a load of old claptrap.
It's not.
Oh, good grief, Clara, that gave me a scare. I thought you were asleep.
I've seen it. I've seen it looking at me. Its eyes glowing red like fire, trying to see into my soul.
What was looking at you, Clara?
The cat?
No, the esophagus.
Oh, she means the sarcophagus.
The what?
And the stone coffin. It's carved and decorated to resemble a pharaoh within.
He's trying to get out. One day, it will escape and bring death and destruction to the whole of our little village.
Clara, will you belt up? You'll scare off our customers.
Forgive the intrusion, ladies and gentlemen, but I couldn't help overhearing. Gertrude, I fear young Clara may be right.
Not you as well, Reverend.
There are dark forces at work in this village. Mark my words. I can feel it in my waters.
I'm not surprised. The amount of port you've put away this evening.
The day Lord Twistleton returned from Egypt, an ominous shadow fell upon our village.
Aye, he was a big fella, wasn't he?
I was talking metaphorically, Amos.
Family should be run out of the village before it's too late.
Who asked you, Ethel Chudley? If the family went, the three of us would be out of work.
Better that than dead.
Hear, hear.
Yeah, you pipe down and all, Nelly Sapling.
Aye, let's not try to blow this out of all proportion.
7 members of the family have died since Lord Twistleton's return from Egypt. Explain that.
Bad luck.
You needn't get involved, Henrietta. You've got work to do.
It's more than bad luck, Henrietta. There's evil in that house.
What a load of old rot.
And even if there is any truth in it, the curse is on the Twistleton family. Nothing's going to happen to us lot in the village.
No one is safe. We're all doomed.
Oh, be quick and shut that door. You're letting in a draft.
Good evening, my friends. Have I got something on my face? Anyone serving? Can I get a drink? The wind's getting up a bit.
That'll be Albert. He's just had a pickled egg.
So, you do speak. I was just beginning to wonder if I'd walked in on the annual convention of mime artists.
What brings you in here, stranger?
Is this the village of Crumpleton?
That's it, me.
Oh, you can drop the local yokel talk. I'm not a tourist.
Oh, that's all right then. Yes, this be Crumpleton.
Then I must be in the vicinity of Twistleton Towers, home of the late Lord Oscar Twistleton.
What business have you got at the Towers?
I am Montgomery Bladderwick, a famous explorer and adventurer. Perhaps you've heard of me?
No.
Oh. Well, I've travelled here from London at the invitation of Lady Amelia Twistleton Fife. From what I understand, she is in dire need of help, and I may be of some assistance to her.
Good evening, sir. I'm Albert Longbottom, butler to Twistleton Towers. We have been expecting you.
Core blimey, you scared the life out of me, love.
Run away. I beg you. Leave this place. Save yourself before you're doomed to hell like the rest of us.
She's a barrel of laughs.
You must forgive Clara, Mr. Bladderwick. She's somewhat troubled.
You're not kidding.
Don't hesitate. Go now before it's too late. Ah!
Well, there's nothing like making someone feel welcome. Listen, love, would you mind bringing the volume down to foghorn level and telling me exactly what you're on about?
The curse.
Curse? What curse?
Some are saying a curse has been placed on the Twistleton family.
It's true. What other explanation is there?
If you go to that house, sir, I fear you may live to regret it.
Hang on. Would somebody please mind telling me what is going on?
You better take a seat, stranger. You're in for a shock.
Would you like a drink, sir?
Oh, I thought you'd never ask.
By the time Gertrude Slobber calls time at the Idle Donkey Tavern, Monty Bladderwick has already finished his ale and begun the final stretch of his journey. He is joined by his new acquaintances, the reluctant employees of Twistleton Towers, Longbottom the butler, Mrs. Haddock the cook, and Clara Alsop the one remaining maid. They are trudging along a narrow, winding road. It is shadowy and treacherous, surrounded by old, gnarled trees on either side.
We're not much further now, Mr. Bladderwick.
Oh, I must say I'm dead chuffed that you offered to show me the way. I don't think I would have found this place without you.
You wouldn't have gone far wrong without us. Cuckoo Spit Lane is only road that leads to the town.
It's a well-worn path.
It's a path to certain death, Mr. Bladderwick. Turn back now before your fate is sealed.
Oh, here we go again.
Clara, give it up, dear. He's not listening to us.
It's his choice at the end of the day.
Look, don't you worry about me, young Clara. Curse or no curse, I can look after myself.
But there is a curse.
Look, just because one or two members of the Twistleton family have died recently, it doesn't mean the whole family is blighted.
It's more than one or two, sir. There's been over 20 deaths.
And not just the family, close friends too.
And they've all died in very strange incidents.
Take our late master's sister, Lady Olive. She plunged headfirst into a lake while she was out boating.
Well, that's not very unusual. I mean, people drown all the time.
She didn't drown, sir. They managed to fish her out, but the water made her corset shrink.
Oh.
They couldn't get it off her in time, and she was suffocated by her own underwear.
Then there was Uncle Hector. He fell down the stairs after slipping on a walnut.
His pet monkey had dropped it on top step while crossing the landing.
Yeah.
But it wasn't the fall that killed him. It was the chandelier.
It came plummeting down on top of him, sir.
Crushed by half a ton of cut glass and candles.
Well, how did it fall?
They say the chain suspending it from the ceiling had weakened due to rust, and the vibrations from his fall downstairs had caused one of the links to snap.
And what about Great Aunt Marigold, Mr. Longbottom?
Yes, it tragically perished in spring at the May Day celebrations.
She'd organised a very ambitious maypole dance for her Sunday school children.
She tripped and got entangled in the ribbons during the performance.
Dang.
The children were concentrating so hard on their complex routine, they didn't notice that the poor woman had become entwined.
She was strangled to death before they could undo the knots, sir.
On the plus side, they crowned her May Day Queen as a tribute.
Oh, well.
Lord Thistleton's best friend was killed only days later.
That's right, Sir Raymond Pettigrew. They'd known each other since they were young lads.
He was a great fan of travelling shows. He would never miss one when he was in town.
He was at one of these shows when he met his end.
He stood too close to one of the fire eaters, and a stray spark landed on its cravat.
The garment burst into flames and set fire to his beard.
Oh, burnt to death? Oh, what a horrible way to go.
No, Mr. Bladderwick, that would have been a relatively pleasant compared to what actually happened.
Hey?
You see, he started running around in a mad panic, trying to find some water so he could extinguish the fire.
Wait.
He was screaming and waving his arms about.
And ran straight into the path of a dancing gorilla.
The creature went mad with fear and mauled Sir Raymond to death.
His body was torn limb from limb.
They never did find one of his legs.
And then there was the...
All right, okay, I get the picture.
Oh, we've managed to convince him. He's going to leave this place. Go, quickly, sir, and don't look back.
Whoa, hang on. I never said that. No, I'm not going anywhere. I like a challenge. Now, I'm not saying there is a curse, but if there is, what makes you think it's going to affect me? I mean, nothing's happened to you three.
It's only a matter of time.
Well, why don't you leave then?
It's too late for us, sir, but you've still got a chance to escape.
No, look, I've made my mind up. Whatever lies ahead of me, I'm going to face it head on. Like I said, I can look after myself.
In that case, there's nothing more to say. You're obviously a lunatic, sir. Come on, let's get back and put the kettle on.
Twistleton Towers is the ancestral home of the Twistleton family and current residence of Lord Oscar's widow and their daughter Daphne. The drawing room is dimly lit and cluttered with an eclectic mix of antique furniture and ornaments. Heavy curtains hang at the large windows, and old paintings of deceased ancestors adorn the flocked wallpaper. Miss Trinket Trelawney, a newly arrived guest in the house, sits patiently while her brother, Sir Trellis, scrutinises the mysterious ornaments littering the room.
Don't touch anything. These are some of the artefacts Lord Twistleton collected on his travels over the years.
I'm only looking, Trinket. What's this?
It's an Amazonian shrunken head.
Made of wax?
No, Trellis, it's real. The skull is removed, along with the fat and flesh, and a wooden ball is inserted to keep the shape. Then it's boiled with herbs and dried using hot rocks.
Well, at least he's not a big head anymore. Now, what is this?
Oh, put it down.
But what on earth is it?
It's a mummified mongoose.
It's ugly.
That mongoose is reported to have been the beloved pet of Prince Morosa, ruler of Lugubrious. It was one of Lord Twistleton's most prized possessions. He brought it back with him from one of his many expeditions.
How do you know?
I've been doing some research into the family. Now put it down, it's priceless.
I'm not surprised. No one would pay for it. What about this?
It's a coprolite.
A what?
Fossilized animal feces.
Ugh.
And judging by the size of it, it's probably from some kind of prehistoric creature.
Dinosaur dung. Yuck. What sort of a place have you brought me to?
You didn't have to come.
Dash it, I've told you, I'm bored. I want a little excitement in my life. You're always gallivanting off to some remote corner of the world and leaving me behind.
I'm an archaeologist. That is the very nature of my profession.
Exactly. I want to come on one or two thrilling adventures with you. I'm fed up of staying at home with nothing to do but entertain all our friends and family.
Believe me, my world is not all excitement and adventure. Much of my work is incredibly tedious and time-consuming.
It can't be any more tedious than a life of croquet, high tea, backgammon, and blind man's bluff.
Good evening.
Good evening.
You must be Miss Trelawney. It's an absolute pleasure to meet you. I've read many of your excellent essays and papers.
Why, thank you. This is my brother, Sir Trellis.
Pleased to meet you.
Likewise, I'm sure.
I am Professor Granville Hinge. I apologise for not greeting you both on your arrival. I'm afraid I was somewhat preoccupied with my studies.
Professor Hinge. I seem to recall your name. Do we have a mutual friend in America?
Indeed we do, Miss Trelawney. Dr. Idaho Jones?
Oh, of course.
I believe you've been on many expeditions with Dr. Jones.
Oh, yes. I have joined him in the field on a number of occasions.
I wondered how you got those grass stains.
No, Professor, if I remember correctly, you are one of the world's leading Egyptologists.
You flatter me, Miss Trelawney.
It is an area in which I have limited knowledge, but in one that I have a keen interest. I've always wanted to meet you, haven't I, Trellis?
Don't ask me. I've got a memory like a...
Sieve?
That's the one.
Hello, everybody. I do hope you've all settled in and are making yourselves at home. Mother sends her apologies. She'll be joining us in a moment. In the meantime, what would you say to a little drinky?
Oh, rather. Spiffing idea.
Yes, quite. What's everyone's tipple? You must be all parched. Silly day to give her servants a night off, if you asked me. But Mother was insistent. Mind you, we've all been having a shocking time of it lately, so they probably deserve some time away from the place.
How long have they been working for you?
Ever since we threatened to sack them. Now, what shall we have to drink?
May I suggest brandies all round, Miss Twistleton? I think the Trelawneys will need a stiff drink when they hear what we have to say.
What do you mean by that? Why have we come here, Trinket?
All I know is that I was invited here by Lady Twistleton Fife on a matter of the utmost urgency. She sounded as if she was in desperate need of my help. Would anyone care to enlighten me as to why I received the invitation?
All in good time, my dear. There is still one more guest to arrive.
Ah, there you are, Mother. I was just about to pour a drink for our guests.
Splendid. Make mine a large one.
Good evening, Lady Twistleton Fife. May I say how delightful you look?
You may. Thank you, my dear. And do call me Amelia.
Shouldn't he be here by now, Amelia?
He should have been here several hours ago.
Perhaps he's not coming.
He better be. We need him.
There's something hideous staring through the window.
I can't see anything. It must have been your reflection.
Charming.
It was Longbottom.
A Longbottom? But whose?
No, Mr. Longbottom, our butler. He's come back from the village early.
Oh, I was frightened out of my wits.
Well, that doesn't take long, darling, does it? Enter.
Good evening, my lady. We have returned.
Yes, that hadn't gone unnoticed, Longbottom.
We were fortunate enough to meet Mr. Bladderwick in the village and have escorted him back here to the towers.
Excellent news.
He's waiting in the hall. Shall I show him in, my lady?
Without delay, Longbottom.
Yes, my lady. At once, my lady.
Looks like our long overdue guest has arrived.
May I present Mr. Montgomery Bladderwick?
Oh, I could do with a drink.
That will be all, Longbottom.
Very good, my lady.
Mr. Bladderwick, how wonderful to meet you. I am Lady Amelia Twistleton Fife. Do call me Amelia.
Oh, lovely to finally meet you, Amelia.
This is my daughter, Miss Daphne Twistleton.
Hello.
Oh, hello, miss.
Here's your drink.
Cheers.
Let me introduce you to our fellow guests. This is Miss Trinket Trelawney, an archaeologist of some repute. Perhaps you've heard of her.
I have indeed. Delighted to make your acquaintance, Miss Trelawney. I'm Montgomery Bladderwick, the explorer. Perhaps you've heard of me?
Oh, sorry. Should I
No.
have? This is my brother, Sir Trellis.
Hello.
He's acting as my assistant at the moment.
And I believe you know Professor Hinge.
Ah, Granville Hinge. Oh, last time I saw you, we were up a creek without a paddle. Oh, how are you, me old mucker?
Oh, I've been keeping myself busy, you know. Can't believe how long it's been since we last met. Must be several years.
Oh, at least. Oh, mate, I look forward to reminiscing about old times. But first things first, I need a wash and a brush up and a plate of something hot and tasty.
That will have to wait. Now you've arrived, Mr. Bladderwick, I must explain why I have brought you all here this evening.
Oh, can't you let a man catch his breath?
I'm afraid not. Time is of the essence.
And I, for one, am eager to hear your explanation.
Please take a seat, Mr. Bladderwick.
Oh, don't mind if I do. Could do with taking the weight off. Ugh.
My story begins over a year ago, in the summer of 1894, when my husband, Lord Oscar, and his brother Owen returned from their latest expedition to Egypt. As you're all probably aware, they were both obsessive collectors of fascinating historical artifacts, and their passion for the bizarre and unusual took them to the furthest reaches of the planet.
Daddy was always disappearing to some distant country in the pursuit of something delightfully curious.
In recent times, Oscar had become somewhat preoccupied with ancient Egypt and all the tantalising treasures it had to offer. On a previous visit to the country, he was told an intriguing tale about a long-forgotten Egyptian pharaoh.
A pharaoh known as King Ambidextrous. It is believed he ruled in the 6th dynasty of the Old Kingdom.
King Ambidextrous was a popular ruler, young and charismatic. He was loved by all.
But none loved him more than his mother, Queen Nefertutu.
She was devoted to him, and he to her. He was the Queen's only child, and she thanked the gods daily for being blessed with him. For several years, all was well in the kingdom, and everyone was happy and content.
However, it is written that one summer King Ambidextrous became besotted with one of his aunt's handmaidens, and his devotion to his mother waned.
The Queen became fiercely jealous and vowed to put an end to her son's love affair.
She planted a deadly Egyptian cobra in the handmaiden's quarters in an attempt to kill the woman.
However, her plan went wrong when her son went looking for the handmaiden and was bitten by the cobra.
The venom was quick-acting, and he died not long afterwards.
Queen Nefertutu had killed her own son. As you can imagine, she was a bit cheesed off.
She was devastated and racked with guilt. The Queen was in torment. She ordered her high priests to mummify her alive as penance for what she had done. She was wrapped in cloth and sealed within a sarcophagus identical to that of her son's. Then the two mummies were sealed within the same tomb, imprisoned together for eternity.
Well, at least that was the idea. Daddy went and spoilt the whole thing when he discovered the tomb, found the sarcophagus of King Ambidextrous and brought it back to England.
He desecrated the tomb and took the sarcophagus.
Yes, I'm afraid so.
And what about Queen Nefertutu?
Daddy never found her. He believes she was buried deeper within the tomb, concealed in a secret chamber.
Where is the sarcophagus he returned with?
In pride of place, in his study.
I must see it.
All in good time, my dear. There is still more to speak of.
Any chance I could have a sandwich?
Oscar and Owen were overjoyed with their new treasure, but they had become so infatuated with the blasted thing, they hadn't considered the consequences.
Consequences? Whatever do you mean?
The curse!
Oh, not you as well. Your servants wouldn't let it rest.
We can't rest, Mr. Bladderwick. The sword of Damocles is hanging over our heads.
Amelia, would you mind elaborating? I'm a little confused.
2 days after my husband returned from Egypt, he died tragically in a freak tiddlywink accident.
Poor Daddy choked to death when one backfired into his mouth.
There was nothing we could do to save him.
A week later, Uncle Owen was run over by a rag and bone man.
Unfortunate accidents, nothing more.
Over 20 friends and family have perished in mysterious circumstances in the past year.
All since the arrival of the mummy.
I called upon Professor Hinge's expertise to investigate this strange phenomenon.
It took me several weeks of intense study, but I eventually stumbled across a strange legend known as the Curse of the Mummies Mummy.
The Curse of the Mummies Mummy?
Yes, the Curse of the Mummies Mummy.
Will you stop saying that?
What?
The Curse of the Mummy's Mummy.
Legend has it, as Queen Nefertutu was bound in her cloth, she harnessed the power of the gods and vowed that if anyone tried to take her son away from her again, an evil curse would befall them all, and all those closest to them. They would pay the ultimate price for their actions.
They would pay with their life.
Professor, are you telling me you think the curse has struck the Twistleton family?
I didn't at first, but what other explanation could there be?
But you said yourself, it's a legend, a myth. I've never heard anything so ridiculous.
And what has it got to do with us?
I have a theory that if Queen Nefertutu is reunited with her son, the king, the curse would be lifted.
So I called upon you to help me. I proposed that you, Mr. Bladderwick, and Miss Trelawney join the professor in an expedition to Egypt to find Nefertutu.
And return her son to her side.
Goodness me, no! Ambidextrous is worth a fortune. You must bring the Queen to him.
And what makes you think I'd undertake such a harebrained scheme?
I will pay handsomely for your troubles.
Oh, well, I'm in.
I'm delighted to hear it, Mr. Bladderwick. But before you make a commitment, do consider the possibility of the curse befalling you.
I'm not too worried. I've got broad shoulders.
And what about you, Miss Trelawney?
I don't need the money.
But just imagine if you were to find the sarcophagus of the legendary Queen Nefertutu. It would be the crowning glory of your already illustrious career.
Luckily for you, I have no plans for the next month or two.
I was hoping you'd say that. Now, there is not a moment to lose. I have fortuitously booked your all passage to Egypt on the SS Insomnia. It sets sail in the morning. You must travel to Liverpool overnight by rail.
Oh, I say, what fun!
Well, I won't bother unpacking then.
As the assembled company at Twistleton Towers quickly readied themselves for their journey, two disagreeable ne'er-do-wells known as Arthur Grasshook and Walter Trickshift stand in the cold night air, half a mile away on Cuckoo Spit Lane. Having been hired by a thoroughly unpleasant individual with highly questionable morals, they await further instructions.
So, Walter, I've been thinking.
Oh, dangerous.
Yep, I know. Well, I've been wondering, who'd win in a fight between a lion and a bear?
What, a grizzly?
Yeah, what do you reckon?
Well, it's gonna be the lion, isn't it?
Yep, that was my gut reaction. But then I got thinking, grizzly bears tend to be much heavier and stronger than a lion.
True, but a lion is a much more skilled fighter and killer.
Surely their bite force must be similar.
A lion's got sharper teeth, though, and don't forget them claws. They'd make a right mess of a bear.
I would say the longer the fight lasts, the more likely the bear is to win. A grizzly's got much more stamina than a lion.
No, mate, a lion would always come out on top.
Look out, someone's coming.
Who goes there?
It's us, you idiots.
Who's us?
Countess Foulfeather and Dr. Grimlish.
How do we know it's you?
Because you can see us, you numbskull. You've got lanterns, it's not that dark.
You could be in disguise.
We all have a password.
We tried that, but you could never remember it.
Anyway, enough of this nonsense. What have you got to report?
Well, we spent the last half hour up this tree watching Twistleton Towers.
We could see straight into the drawing room.
And who was there?
Lady Twistleton and her daughter.
Yes, but who else?
Professor Inge.
Oh, I knew it. I knew he was involved. The interfering old buzzard.
There was also this bloke we didn't recognise.
Was Miss Trelawney there?
Yep, Miss Trelawney and her brother.
Then there is no doubt in my mind, Doctor. If Lady Twistleton is meeting with Trinket Trelawney, she must be planning another expedition to acquire the companion piece.
The sarcophagus of Queen Nefertutu.
Her husband must have revealed its value before he died, and she has enlisted the help of Professor Hinge to locate the exact whereabouts of the tomb.
But even if they have discovered the precise location of the tomb, who is to say they will have any more success in finding the Queen than we have?
Because, you fool! They have now Miss Trinket Trelawney in their team, and she is one of the most brilliant archaeologists in the world.
Then they must be prevented from reaching the tomb, at all costs.
I agree. We must find out what they have got planned and devise an ingenious scheme to stop them. Queen Nefertutu is mine, and no one is going to stand in my way.
Oh, sorry.
Not you, you nitwit. I was talking about Lady Twistleton and her merry band of meddlers.
Would you like us to deal with them?
Thank you, Arthur. That's very tempting, believe me. But I feel we should be a little more discreet.
We need to determine how they are travelling to Egypt and follow them.
Come on, chaps. Best foot forward.
Oh, good Lord. That's them now, coming up the track.
Quickly. We must hide.
Where?
Oh, let's think. How about under that small pebble?
Will we all fit?
Oh, behind the trees, idiot!
Oh,
where is my brother?
Oh, he's several yards behind us.
Oh, hurry, Trellis! Oh, you must try and keep up.
There's a stone in my shoe.
Couldn't it have waited until we reached the station? We must catch the night train to Liverpool.
It was very painful.
Painful? Oh, you don't know the meaning of the word. You tried being bitten by a conger ant.
Well, I'd hardly call an ant bite painful. Slightly itchy and irritating, maybe.
Listen, a conger ant isn't any ordinary ant. It's also known as a bullet ant, on account of it feeling like you've been shot if you get bitten by one.
Do we really have time for this?
No, we must press on.
I say!
Hello? Oh, wait for me. Oh, thank goodness. I didn't think I'd manage to catch up with you.
Miss Twistleton, what are you doing out here? Have we forgotten something?
Well, yes, sort of. You see, I was wondering if you would mind awfully if I joined you.
Whatever do you mean, Miss Twistleton?
I'd like to come with you. I quite fancy a little jaunt overseas.
I'd hardly call it a jaunt. We're going on a treacherous journey. Quite frankly, it could be rather dangerous.
Do you really think so? How exciting! Oh, do let me come.
Oh, very well.
No.
Well, why not?
Because it's too risky.
Well, that's up to her. Only Miss Twistleton, if you break a leg, don't come running to me.
I promise not to be any bother.
Well, I've got sore misgivings.
Well, you want to get yourself some cream from the doctor for that.
Right, now that's settled, can we get to the railway station? We must fly, or we won't reach the Liverpool docks in time to board the SS Insomnia.
Looks like we've got a train to catch.
Why? Where are we going?
Didn't you hear anything they were saying?
Well, I didn't like to seem like I was spying.
That was the whole point, you buffoon!
We must take the train to Liverpool and board the same ship as they do. Only then will we make ourselves known and politely ask them to abandon their quest.
What if they say no?
Well, I have no doubt that is what they will say. However, I can be rather persuasive when I want to be.
They must be stopped, whatever it takes.
Don't worry, Doctor. They will be stopped. And soon Queen Nefertiti will be ours. Oh, go on, there is not a moment to lose.
Miss Trinket Trelawney and her team travel on the overnight train to Liverpool and arrive with only minutes to spare in time to board the ship to Africa. They are closely pursued by Countess Wilhelmina Foulfeather and her associates. The SS Insomnia is a high-class passenger steam liner, decorated with polished brass and oak fittings. Madame Claudette Pungent and her travelling companion Miss Trundle are taking their afternoon constitutional.
Isn't it a glorious day, Miss Trundle?
Oh, yes, indeed, Madame Pungent. I was just thinking the very same.
Perfect weather for a short promenade on the decks.
Splendid.
A warm sun, calm seas, a slight breeze to blow the cobwebs away.
The fresh air is quite invigorating.
But don't let those placid waves fool you, Miss Trundle. Beneath them lie the tormented spirits of many who have perished at the hands of King Neptune.
Can you feel their presence, Madame?
Oh, mais oui! As I look out at the deep blue yonder, I can hear the voices. Sirens luring innocent young sailors to their doom. Heartbroken mermaids crying for lost sweethearts. The roars of the deadly kraken echoing around Davy Jones' locker.
Oh, Madame Pungent, are you unwell?
I'm a little overcome. I need to sit down.
Of course. Rest a while in this deck chair.
Sometimes the burden of having such powers such as mine is hard to bear, Miss Trundle.
Oh, I can imagine, Madam. Would you like a waft of smelly salts?
That would be most appreciated, dear.
Good afternoon, ladies.
Good afternoon, Captain.
How are you finding your first day at sea?
Very pleasant, thank you. Although my travelling companion had just come over a little swan.
Really? Perhaps you are suffering from a slight bout of seasickness, miss.
I most certainly am not. I have devoted a large percentage of my life to travel and spent a good deal of time sailing the seven seas.
You could say he has the water in her blood.
Well, maybe that's why she doesn't feel well.
I think you will find she was speaking figuratively.
How silly of me.
No, Captain. The reason why I suddenly feel out of sorts is because of my gift.
Gift?
Yes. You see, I have a sixth sense.
What do you mean?
Madame Pungent is a psychic and clairvoyant.
I am deeply in tune with the supernatural.
She has an uncanny telepathic ability.
Allow me to demonstrate, Captain. Think of an animal.
Oh, very well. Right. I've thought of one.
Is it a cow?
No.
Is it a fox?
No.
Mouse?
No.
Moose?
No.
Dog?
Yes.
There, you see? Isn't she amazing?
Incredible.
Oh, good afternoon, Captain.
Ah, Countess. Good afternoon. I trust everything is to your satisfaction so far?
Oh, impeccable service, Captain. I want to thank you again for accommodating us at such short notice.
No trouble at all. I hope you and the good doctor here would do me the honour of being my guest at my table for dinner this evening.
Oh, we would be delighted.
Very good. I look forward to it. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon.
He's a bit smarmy.
Everyone smarms around me. I'm a countess.
I like the captain's uniform. It was very dapper.
Just imagine, he's in charge of this whole ship.
Yeah, isn't it posh? Look how clean those little round windows are.
For your information, the correct name for those little round windows is portholes. Your room is a cabin, your beds are bunks, the floors are decks, the kitchen is a galley, and the dining room is a mess.
Well, don't look at me. I'm not cleaning it up.
Forgive me for interrupting, my dear. My name is Madame Claudette Pungent, and I've been watching you.
Oh, yes.
I must tell you that I find your aura is most intéressant.
I beg your pardon?
He can sense your aura. She's a psychic.
What's an aura when it's at home?
An aura is a strange atmosphere, a kind of haze, gentle that surrounds your body.
Arthur gets that when he eats too much cabbage.
Miss, there is no scientific proof that such a thing exists.
May I interpret your aura?
Well, if you must, but this really is very tiresome.
Oh. You have a very negative energy.
Tell me something I don't know.
Oh, what is it, madame?
The Grim Reaper walks amongst us.
What is she whittering on about?
You're all doomed. Doomed.
Enough of this nonsense. Be off with you this instant before I have you thrown overboard.
Oh, well, really? There's no need to be like that.
You heard what the lady said. Clear off and take your batty old friend with you.
Madame Pungent is an expert in her field.
She's as nutty as a fruitcake.
How dare you?
Don't upset yourself, Miss Trundle. I have grown accustomed to such prejudice. We will take our leave. But mark these words, my friends. Death is lurking in the shadows, so you had better be on your guard. Good day.
Mad as a hatter.
I hope so.
Don't tell me you think there's any truth to her ramblings.
No, definitely not. Only a strange feeling came over me while she was talking. A cold, unnerving feeling. That being ridiculous, of course.
Of course. You have just been unsettled by Hinge and Trelawney and their party. You'll be happier once we put a stop to their futile quest.
I most certainly have not been unsettled by that motley crew of misfits. However, I must admit, I will be happier once they've been dealt with.
No time like the present. Here they come now. Good afternoon, Professor Hinge.
You're Grimlish, as I live and breathe.
I imagine you're overjoyed to see me.
Don't flatter yourself. You should have realised you were close by from the putrid stench I smelt when I got on board.
I see you are as charming as ever, Professor. Well, are you going to introduce me to your friends?
I suppose. This is Miss Trinket Trelawney.
The archaeologist?
The very same.
I'm really thrilled to meet you at long last.
Oh, well, isn't everybody? And you are?
Countess Wilhelmina Foulfeather, an acquaintance of Dr. Grimlish.
Oh, this is Montgomery Bladderwick. He's a bit of an explorer.
You've heard of me.
No.
Oh.
So, Granville, how do you and the doctor know each other?
You could say we're old friends.
Believe me, he is no friend of mine. Dr. Grimlish is an ex-colleague. He's a scoundrel and a reprobate.
That is slander.
So sue me.
Oh, come on, boys. Shake hands. Let's put the past behind you and move forward.
Why are you on board this ship, Grimlish? What are you up to?
You've got such a suspicious mind.
Oh, just tell him, Doctor. I'm tiring of this pretense.
Very well. If you must know, Professor, we're on an expedition.
An expedition of a very similar nature to your own.
How do you know we're on an expedition?
Shall we just say we've been monitoring you?
You mean spying?
I am a lady of breeding, Mr. Bladderwick. I do not spy.
No, but I bet your monkeys do that for you.
Here, watch it. If you're so well informed, Countess, what do you know about our expedition?
You have been enlisted by Lady Twistleton Fife, widow of the late Lord Oscar Twistleton, to travel to Egypt in search of the lost remains of Queen Nefertutu. I surmise you have been charged with the task of retrieving the Queen's sarcophagus and returning to England with it as a valuable addition to her ladyship's collection.
Oh, that's very precise for someone who hasn't been spying, love.
May I inquire what business it is of yours, Countess?
None whatsoever, other than the fact that the sarcophagus belongs to me.
What on earth do you mean it belongs to you?
I do beg your pardon. Did I say it belonged to me? I meant to say it will belong to me.
Oh, you seem very sure of yourself.
Indeed, I am. May I continue?
Oh, fill your boots.
Queen Nefertutu is an incredibly rare artifact. Some even say a legend. So you can imagine how valuable she would be if she was ever unearthed.
Its value is of no interest to us.
Oh, you speak for yourself.
Well, we're only interested in recovering the said item in the name of posterity.
Oh, poppycock! You want to get your hands on that sarcophagus for one reason, and one reason only. Because it is worth a fortune.
I'm not interested in the money.
Then you won't mind abandoning your quest.
And let you get your filthy hands on the treasure? Ha! Over my dead body?
Oh, no, you're talking.
Are you threatening us?
No. We're merely advising you to forfeit your expedition.
Yeah, you better listen to the Countess, or you'll be geography.
Don't you mean history?
Don't change the subject.
Right, Look, listen, Countess Foulfoot.
Foul feather.
Yeah, whatever. There is no power in this world that would prevent us from carrying on.
We shall see.
Oh, that sounds like a challenge.
Don't make me angry, Mr. Bladderwick. You wouldn't like me when I'm angry.
Well, I don't like you anyway, love. Now, if you'll excuse us, we have to finalise our plan of action for when we arrive in Egypt.
Good day, Countess. I've had a perfectly wonderful afternoon, but this wasn't it.
Enjoy the rest of your voyage.
Watch your back, Hins. I'll stop you if it's the last thing I do.
So, they want to play with fire, do they? Well, people who play with fire get their fingers burnt. Doctor, I think it's time we cracked open a bottle of one of your devilish concoctions.
Yes. It just so happens that I've been working on a new potion recently. This provides an ideal opportunity for me to trial it.
We will test it out on Bladderwick. I don't like him. He's brash, he's arrogant, and above all else, he's as common as muck.
I'll give him one of my special cocktails as a peace offering, and then leave him to do all our dirty work.
That'll wipe the smug smiles off their faces.
On another part of the deck, Miss Daphne Twistleton and Sir Trellis Trelawney are looking out across the endless blue sea.
I do hope the sea will be as calm as is every day during our crossing to Egypt.
I agree. Today has been most relaxing.
Yes, indeed. Several weeks of this will be very therapeutic. Just what the doctor ordered.
And to think my sister inferred that her work was stressful.
If this is stress, I need to come on more expeditions. This sun and sea air will do wonders for my complexion.
As we are going to be travelling together for a while, Miss Twistleton, we ought to take this opportunity to get to know each other a little better.
Terrific idea.
You can begin by telling me a little about your personality.
Well, I'm a very private and secretive person. That's about it, really.
Oh. Good afternoon. Lovely day for it.
I spit at your feet, sir.
Oh, charming. I was only trying to be pleasant.
You are about to embark on one of the biggest atrocities of our time, and you talk of being pleasant.
Come away from him, Trellis. He's obviously out to make trouble.
It is you who is out to make trouble, miss, like your father before you.
I'm afraid I really haven't got the faintest idea what you're talking about.
It's as plain as the nose on your face.
My nose isn't plain. I've been told it's rather pretty.
You are planning to desecrate the tomb of King Ambidextrous, just as your father did a year ago.
Oh, that. Yes, we are. But you see, we simply must because we have the rotten luck of having a curse placed on us.
It is true that your father did activate the curse of the Mummies Mummy. But I assure you that if Queen Nefertutu is disturbed, another magic will be released, far darker and more powerful than that of the curse.
How do you know about Queen Nefertutu? Who are you exactly?
I am Fenuku Farouk, a devout member of a secret Egyptian sect committed to protecting the mortal remains of Queen Nefertutu and her immortal soul.
Pleased to meet you, I'm sure.
I have vowed to defend Her Majesty at all costs and would give my life to keep her hidden and safe.
Well, that's all very well, but we need the Queen to break the curse.
Then may the consequences of your actions rest upon your head.
What on earth do you mean by that?
I am prepared to die for Queen Nefertutu. Are you?
He wasn't very nice, was he?
Let's try to ignore him. We mustn't let him spoil our lovely, relaxing afternoon.
Sir Trellis, Miss Twistleton, you enjoying the sunshine?
Well, we were trying to, but we've just had a rather odd encounter.
Yes, with a tall Egyptian man who seemed to know everything about us.
Including the fact that we are searching for Queen Nefertutu.
Really? Well, you better get yourself a drink and tell me all about it.
It's a little early for cocktails, Mr. Blatherwick.
Oh, I quite agree. But this fella I had a bit of a run-in with earlier gave this one to me by way of an apology.
Oh, how spiffing. Should it be steaming like that, then?
Oh! It's him! It's him!
Yes, madam. It is I, Montgomery Bladderwick, the famous explorer and adventurer.
I don't know who you are or where you come from, but I knew you were on this ship.
He'd been looking for you. She had a vision and you were in it.
She must be a medium.
How can you tell?
Well, that dress is never a large.
You are in grave danger, sir. I've seen its hideous face. There are forces at work you couldn't possibly comprehend.
Oh, now, try and compose yourself, love. You're all of a tiz was. I can feel you was tizzing from here.
I saw a terrible creature, an animated Egyptian mummy.
Oh.
It seemed to be alive. Its groans were blood-curdling.
Oh.
It was after you, sir.
What?
Stalking you with outstretched arms. You tried to get away, sir, but it was too fast for you. It grabbed hold of you and wrapped its arms around your body, squeezing the life out of you until your bones cracked.
Oh! Oh! Oh, good grief. I need a drink. Oh. Oh. Oh, that's better. Oh. 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 Oh.
Mr. Blatherwick, what in heaven's name is wrong?
Monty, why are you clutching your throat like that?
Your friend seems to be having a funny turn.
Was your cocktail a little too strong, Mr. Blatherwick?
Oh, good heavens, why is his body jerking and contorting in that strange manner?
I think he needs a doctor.
You may be right. He really doesn't look terribly well.
What's happened to his face? His eyes have turned a funny colour.
His face has become all hairy.
And are those fangs?
Would you like us to get a doctor, sir?
He is possessed!
Oh.
Montgomery Blatherwick, pull yourself together. You are acting most improperly. These ladies hardly know you.
He cannot hear you, miss. He is merely an animal now.
Maybe we could distract him by throwing a stick for him to fetch.
Stay back, accursed creature.
Oh, help, help! Somebody save her!
Take your hands from around Sir Trellis' throat this instant.
Oh, Captain Craig, your helper! This man has gone mad! He's strangling him!
Unhand that gentleman immediately!
That's it, Captain. Strike him again. Oh, goodness. Have you killed him?
It was either me or him, Miss Twistleton.
This is a sign of things to come. Mark my words. We're all doomed. Doomed!
No, that's right, dear. Look on the bright side.
Will Montgomery Bladderwick live to fight another day? Will more of Madame Pungent's premonitions come true? Will the Countess Foulfeather succeed with her dastardly plot? Find out the answers in the next enthralling episode of The Curse of the Mummies Mummy.
Curse of the Mummies Mummy was written by Kai Bailey and narrated by David O'Brien. It featured in order of appearance Nathan Hughes as Amos Slobber, Matthew Brown as Albert Longbottom, Elaine Marshall as Mrs. Haddock, Tamara Mills as Gertrude Slobber, Amy Ash as Clara Alsop, Keith Bagley as Reverend Mugford, Hannah Priestley as Ethel Chudley, Sue Fletcher as Nellie Saplin, Katie Kalo as Henrietta Twig, Craig Pakes as Monty Bladderwick, Laura Griffin as Trinket Trelawney, Kai Bailey as Trellis Trelawney, Dan Paulson as Professor Hinge, Kelly Anderson as Daphne Twistleton, Jackie Taylor-Johnson as Lady Amelia, Aaron Pettigan as Arthur Grasphook, Callum Thomas as Walter Trickshift, Joe Warwick as Countess Foulfeather, Dan Excel as Dr. Grimlish, Colette Buchanan-Gray as Madam Pungent, Mel Priestley as Miss Trundle, Callum Thursby as Captain Crankshaw, and David O'Brien as Fanuku Farouk. This programme was recorded and edited by Mark Elson and directed by Kai Bailey. It was a Heckington Players production.